Yeah! We are here in Belize. We want to say to all of our pathfinders and master guide, yes, even the adventurers. Yeah! We are heading to Jamaica. 2 more months and a half. Come on, as we register. We want you to be there. Pathfinders in mission. Yeah! In Jamaica. Adventurers, pathfinders, master guides. Yeah! Get ready, because on the 4th to the 8th of April 2023, we will be there in Jamaica. Get ready. 2 more months and a half. We gotta be there, Pathfinders.
Us once again for Youth Come Alive, your favorite nighttime local television show. I'm your host this evening, Jalen Pascascio, and I have quite a few people on set, starting with my co-host on the far right,
Aislinn Murillo
Kayla Esquiliano.
Could you
Deon Robinson.
say it again? Please, nothing.
Deon Robinson.
Thank you.
And then Deon Robinson.
All right. As you know, it is February, and for most of us, it's the start of allergy season. So, word of advice: loratadine and vitamin C. That's your allergy combo for my allergy-stricken friends. But apart from that, what's also in the air is love. How mushy it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, of course, what would it be if we did not take the opportunity to acknowledge all that is love, romance, and entanglements? So our topic this evening is a match made in heaven, and we have enlisted the help of a strong-going couple, brother and sister Robinson. All right, so we're gonna jump right.
You realize for the name even match?
This is what I'm saying. There are match made in heaven.
I mean,
Deon and Deanna. Yeah. We're gonna ask them the burning question that will strike our conversation this evening. If you two had to reflect on a couple in the Bible that aligns with your marriage experience, which couple would that be?
I would say Jacob and Rachel to an extent.
Okay, all right.
You know, the dedication that was shown towards each other, and the respect, and he had to wait, but he already made up his mind what he wanted, and so he followed that.
All right, you back me up?
Yeah. How long you wait for me?
She never wear.
I don't think that we asked the question.
I only waited 3 years.
I just know a check seat.
Okay, okay.
If it all bring back memory.
Alright. Remember? Can I answer it?
I already answered 3 years.
Oh, okay, just to make sure. Yeah. Alright.
3 years. Oh, not Miss Deanna being messy. Oh, man. All right. And in that 3 years, what made you stick it out? Because I know some people after 6 months, if the ring not upon a finger, they're gone.
Wait, but that time then I never had phone like that, right?
Right.
We never had a text.
I want to know how they keep the spice
yeah.
in action.
Well, go back. We actually met in the States. That's where we started to date. And our first actual date was on my birthday, which she took me out. Not me took her. I didn't take her out. She took me out.
Okay.
And she paid for it too.
Okay.
And we dated for like 2 weeks, I think like 2.5 weeks then, and then I left and I moved to New York. She came back home. I lived there for a few more months. While that was happening, we correspond by letters. At the time of letters, I had access to a cell phone at least once a month, so I'll make a once a month call. But other than that, it was letters.
And believe me, sometimes you're there waiting, look out for the postman. No letter. And there was one time when I didn't receive a letter for a long time. How many did you get? He had to write me like, I don't know if it's 2 or 3,
Well,
back to back.
What happened is that I receive a letter, and in the letter stated is that I've not been hearing from you. If I don't hear anything back, then that's it. I won't write you anymore about anything.
Wow.
So that night,
ghosting.
I mean, I can write very well, but I have to sit and really think that night. I didn't waste any time. I just had to write. So some of what I wrote, if you read it, no, it's garbage, but it did play a role because I ended up writing 2 letters and I mailed both of them together.
Wow.
I still have those letters too, I kept them. Yeah.
So
I have them.
we want
For her eyes only.
Oh, okay. Okay. So even
You
back
just be
then,
getting at the people their business.
even back then, people were being ghosted, but by mail. How interesting! Wow.
Miss Deanne, I know it was far distance. How like I have to ask, because if I miss a phone call or a text for the day, I'm like, okay, this just wild, it's crazy. How you do it, the wait for weeks for a letter?
Well, that's a little bit, you kind of get anxious, you get curious, all those things, right? Because when we met, it was the summer, and then he came back home December, back to Belize. And then while he was in the city, I was in Dangaria, so we still had that long distance relationship.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we dated for that 3 years, or 2.5 years, but it wasn't. It is because it was just the beginning of the relationship.
Okay.
When he was in New York, I was back home here. Then it wasn't all that bad because I was just saying, okay, well, I see something that I like, and I like to see where this is going. So I just stuck it out because I know something was there.
Okay. So what did you do? So what did you do between the time of that wait? Not this time. Okay, not waiting for the letters, but in the waiting for him. What did you do? Like, how did you carry your day about?
Well, that's normal because, I don't know this guy like that. So it's just like normal. I go to work and whatnot while waiting for the letters and so forth. And when that letter comes, then,
You smile up, too?
smile up, you feel the tummy, you feel the butterflies and all those things, right? People will look at me and then, no letter come. Yeah.
And no letter come.
Yes, that's the exciting part about it when I receive letters back then.
Wow, imagine if we had to write letters now. We had to wait to receive the letter and then read it and then write back. And that's how the communication have to go. Imagine if we would do that. I think a lot of us would actually choose right.
Maybe because me I come fast. May I take
Right.
time to mature and develop.
Yeah, because now they have their fast food relationships.
Oh, wow.
And remember, fast food sicking you, so that's exactly what happened in relationships today.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh, man.
We.
All right, then. So we talked about the waiting period, like the couple you mentioned. What was it like when you finally got close to each other and you guys determined, you know what? After the weeks of waiting to respond, all right, have to lock this one down because next thing somebody else tries to send them a letter.
I wasn't really worried. I wasn't worried about that any at all. I just felt convicted that I mean, when I was in New York and I was sending letters, and she was responding back, I just felt convicted that if I come back home, definitely I believe this relationship can work, because personally for me, the last person I was dating. After that was over, I decided that the next person that I meet is going to be wife.
Okay.
So it's something that I was praying about for a long, long time, and just as though when God just paraded Eve in front of Adam, Adam chose Eve. God did not give Eve to Adam. He just put her in place there, and he chose her, and it was the same thing. God put her in place there, and I saw her, and I chose her.
I guess that's why things didn't work out for him in New York. He had to come home back to me.
Wow. So
God had his plan.
are you hinting, Miss Deanne, that you were in part of your praying for Brother Deon, you were hoping that things may fall apart, so you had to come home? Well.
I didn't really know what would have worked out, but sometimes you just go with the flow and hope God worked it out. And it did. He did work it out.
All right.
So, I mean, you hope for the best for him to have things work out in New York, but at the same time, you want to work out back home yet.
I mean, like I told her and I told a lot of persons, I could have stayed, but what I wanted for my life, I was not seeing that. And so I thought the best thing, and I believe in my heart that God wanted that for me. The best thing was for me to come back home and work his vineyard. If I would have stayed, I would have been totally lost.
Right. I like that you both mentioned the importance of having God in the dating stage and the premarital stage, because I feel like a lot of young people these days, they tend to forget how important God is in seeking a partner. And then you end up like Samson and Delilah. And how burned did he get burned?
Or what they did, or what they would do is to pray fervently for that partner, and then when that time after marriage and they already sealed the deal, then they forgot who put them together. And then that's where you start seeing things falling apart.
Yeah.
Because they didn't stick it through with the God that they prayed to for this marriage to work out.
Right.
So that's so true. And the Samson and Delilah situation is that most persons today are getting into relationships based on the fact of feelings, and not of the matter of what real love is. And because person, I love you, and then they cuss up her, they sleep out of the house, or no talk, but yet you still they say you love. So if that what love is, that means I don't want it. And that's what a lot of persons are saying today. That's the type of love you'll be showing me, I don't want it.
Right.
And when we go back to the Bible and find out what real love is a matter of having wisdom and understanding. So if we have knowledge of what a woman is and knowledge of what a man is, then we can really have a relationship and show them the type of love God wants for us to do. But if you don't know about what a woman is or what a man is, you can't love that person.
Right. And, quite in line with that, we have a comment here from Adrian that says, love is patient, endures, and it hopes. So that is some good context on what love is, because I feel like love became one of those common where it's like, oh, I love you, man. And it's just something that they want to hear, so you say it, you know, because, oh, you want soften your heart, leave it out and get what I want. You know, we forget that love is not just a word, it's intention. It is all-encompassing.
Yeah.
And hence the reason why we have so many divorces today is the fact that the person that leaves, most of the time they were in love at some point, but it was a matter of more feelings. So when you get married and you reach to the point where they say for better or for worse, everybody, always, I would say 99% of the persons in this world today want just the better part. Forgetting that at some point in time there can be worse, because that's two different individuals coming together to try to coexist. And one of the things that has been happening in a lot of relationships that I've noticed is that persons get into a relationship and forget about their singleness. And despite the fact you are in a relationship and you are even married, you are still supposed to hold on to your singleness, meaning hold on to yourself, who you know. Yes, you will give that individual a whole lot of yourself, but you still need to hold on to you.
That is very important, because I think, like you said, a lot of people lose their identity when they get into a relationship, and then they get, lack of a better word, stupid for the other person. And everything relies on what the other person does, and then that only leads to heartbreak for yourself in the end.
You know, when you said that just now, I remember watching a couple dating, and this couple, I see this guy, he likes this certain thing. And then I noticed that the girls start liking that same thing. I'm not saying that it's not something that you shouldn't do, but then was that something that is it something you really like, or you just do it because that's what that person do? And so when it continue, then when the person not there, she still does it because that's not your identity. So she start picking up the identity of the guy. So my thing is, if they would ever get to separate, what is it that she's losing then? Because then when that relationship is finished, she'll have to go back and refine herself and refine things that she would like, because she have placed all her identity in that one person. So that brings me to the question that I have to ask Miss Deanna and Brother Deon. How do you guys maintain that individuality even though being one?
Ladies first.
Well, I don't think that part you were talking about, because as you were talking about that, I could think about a couple who is like that likewise, right? And I know it can get on the mother's nerve to see that, okay, I raised my son this way to eat this, eat that, and then as soon as he got married, and then this wife does not eat this, then he doesn't want to eat this, and he grew up eating that, like, you know?
Right.
So, but for us, I can't think that we have our own individual likes and dislikes and so forth. So I don't think that one applies to us. And then he still likes what he likes growing up, whatever it is, if it's certain kinds of movies or food or whatever it is, outdoor activities. He didn't change any of that for me, or I didn't change anything that I like just to suit him.
Okay.
You know, so we keep our own individuality and what we like, what we don't like.
You see, before I decided to get married, I did a lot of reading.
Okay.
Bible-wise, and other books of persons who have been in the marriage thing for a long time, counselors and all that, to understand the concept of the human mind and human behavior, and also what I would want for myself.
Okay.
So one of the same things I want for myself is the same thing that I would want for my partner. So for allowing her to say, well, I want that black, you have to want it black. That's not the case. I've decided in my mind from a very young age that whoever I decide to marry, I will keep myself, they can keep themselves. But we will be together. We will be together. And there's no way that I can find in the Bible that we all believe in that God is saying that, yes, it did say the two becomes one. But you have to look on it that the two becomes one in terms of coexisting together within the same environment.
Right.
But it's not saying that one becomes somebody totally different or just suck on like what Creole says suck. You know, and they can't do anything for themselves. Because I've seen relationship whereby in a lot of cases it's the woman gets so sucked on to the men that when that relationship is over, they don't know what else to do. They feel like they're totally lost. They decide, well, the man don't want me no more, I end up kill myself. And then you have the other way around, whereby you have the man now so sucked on to the woman that if the relationship over or their partner dies, unfortunately, you know, they feel as though it's the end of the world. And it should not be that should not be the case. Right?
I mean, the reason why God didn't give us all the same likes and dislikes is to make the world unique. And so putting two people together, it's to bring their uniqueness together, to bring a strength that could be able to work together in wherever you go. So on a work together for build, because now I have children, and their children will come with their own identity, and then you have to be able to work together to understand this child inside the environment, by herself, in the family, outside at school, and then the circle gets bigger and bigger. And so I am a strong believer of keeping your own identity while being involved with somebody else, because your identity, the way your strength come from.
Right. We have a comment here from it. We have quite a few. We're going to read the first one. The first one says, the old time way of courting needs to be brought back because technology has its advantages, but you won't know the individual unless you spend quality time and actually talking and looking at each other, etc. FaceTiming or video chatting or only messaging isn't the same as face-to-face. And that is very true, because that's a part of one of the love languages. Quality time is not, oh, I get pun and FaceTime call with you and I just rack up hours, 3-4 hours pass. That's not quality time. That's just time that you cut out to be on the phone. Because you could be doing quite a few other things.
Well, maybe you might think they're not quality time, but for some people are quality time. Because maybe you can't spend that moment together right then and there together. And so if you're there together, would you rack up the same hours there?
Well, if they were like me, I had times when I would just jump in my car, put in some gas and roll at Dan Rigger, spend a couple hours and come back the same night.
See?
To work the morning.
Wow.
I go make sure I spend my quality time. I get tired of phone call. So I just run, go down there, come back, sometimes I'm tired, but I want to go and visit, so I go visit for a couple hours and I come back. Make sure I get a physical quality time,
Brother Deon said that, and it made me remember when my brother was dating his now wife. He come off our 24-hour shift. Please tell me why this boy, they take off his scrubs, they go bathe, and they get to a bus.
How long
they get to a
though?
Bus. Right at Belmopan.
Only an hour.
And then come on the last one back, go back to work the next day. Sir.
This is giving serial killer tendencies.
I mean, look at it. We, exactly. It's just as though Jacob and Rachel scenario.
Right.
This man worked basically 7 years. You have to say free, no money get paid in reality. But he know what of he price. That he want a woman there, so he not doing it for that woman, because
that's right.
That's the woman he envisioned in his mind that he will spend the rest of his life with.
Still work for additional 7, so 14 years total.
Wow.
So how much you work, Brother D?
I work on a year and a half basically.
There's a comment here from Leslie. He said, my girl doesn't, your wife, sir, my wife doesn't like sports, but will sit and watch a ball game with me. And there are things that my girl likes, and I don't, but I'll do it with her because I want her to be happy. And you know what? Eventually, I find myself enjoying the things she enjoys. That before gas price was like, whoa.
I mean, that's a very good thing. That's a very good thing, and you have to realize that in relationship, you have to make some compromise.
Yes.
You have to make some compromise. Everything cannot be your way. Right?
And that's being supportive, you know, and then that's by him going or her going to the games and whatnot. I mean, just to have your wife there watching you play ball or whatnot, man, that's a good feeling, you know. And that's instead of the wife being somewhere else or stuff like that. And then it's kind of like being apart and it's kind of slowly drifts apart. So being there, even if it's lending support, and that's building relationship.
That word compromise. Woo! It's small, but it's a lot.
Yes, because you have to remember it's not all about you anymore when you tie that knot, you know.
True.
Yeah.
You have to consider the other person as well.
Another comment here from Adrian, and I like that it's a quotation from Adventist Home. It says, love is a precious gift which we receive from Jesus. Pure and holy affection is not a feeling, but a principle. Those who are actuated by true love are neither unreasonable nor blind.
That's so true.
I think as young people, before we get married or think about getting married, we need to go through that Adventist Home and the love letters to young people that from LNG White love letters. When I was at school, I sat and I read that, and it was actually beautiful to read how how she would encourage the young people. Like, she didn't scold them, she didn't tell them off, she just encouraged them.
Selfless plug here, since Aislinn mentioned going to the Adventist Home at Ephesus. We are doing the Adventist Home for AY, so if you're interested in learning how to become a better fit partner in the Adventist Home, you can join us Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m.
Not him giving a free advertisement.
Free ad.
Of his AY.
I mean, if you don't have access to that, then go directly to the Bible.
Yes.
The Bible teaches a woman in Proverbs 31 how to be a woman. And it also teaches a man how to be a man. If we can read that and really dig deep into it and understand what both individuals are supposed to be, man, you'll have an awesome marriage, just as what we have.
So essentially what you're saying is you have to be educated to know how to properly love. It's not just...
You have to have knowledge.
Yeah.
You have to have knowledge.
Yeah. And Agent write the correct name of the book. Letters to Young Lovers, not young people, young lovers.
And messages to young
Yes,
people.
and messages to young people. With that, let's go for a short break, and we will be right back.
You might be asking, who are Seventh-day Adventists? Commonly known as Adventists, we are a Christian movement established in 1863. We have 28 fundamental beliefs and more than 20 million members. We also observe the seventh-day Sabbath. Worldwide, we have more than 162,000 congregations. We serve countless communities with our education institutions, with 2 million students. And 198 hospitals around the world. And it's all because we love Jesus.
Hi, I'm Pastor Eladio Davis.
I'm Pastor Denny McCullough.
We are the hosts of your Bible study series, Words of Wisdom. In 2 Timothy 3:16, God reminds us that all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof,
For correction and for instruction in righteousness.
Words of Wisdom is a specially designed program brought to you by ATN in an effort to share the Advent message to our friends and faithful viewers who are yearning to build a growing and saving relationship with Jesus Christ. If you want to learn more about our rich Adventist heritage, basic fundamental beliefs, counsel on courtship and marriage,
Or simply a deeper study of God's written word, then join us Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on our Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as Channel 98 on Central TV. Join in and be a part of this special Bible studies effort by praying that God continues to lead and bless this ministry, by becoming a faithful viewer and inviting your friends and family to like and share our programs, by your kind donations and of course your generous financial contributions. Contact us at 416139351 or send us an email at atn@cbm.belizeunion.org. We are located at 10 3/4 miles Philip Golson Highway. Thank you for being a part of the ATN ministry. It is our prayer that you will keep the book of the law always on your lips.
meditate on it day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to that which is written therein. Then thou shalt make thy way prosperous and have good success.
And just like that, we are back from our very short break. I think we have to cut the breaks even shorter to maximize our time here on set. But nevertheless, during the break, we put our couples in a little bit of an exam, right?
Yeah,
a bit of
put them in an exam
compatibility
room.
test. So we asked them a few questions off camera. We're going to repeat those questions for you now to see if they really know each other as they claim.
Well, it's not about knowing each other. It's about seeing, I guess, maybe just conversations you have randomly and see what you remember.
Okay, see them to listen.
Even that. Okay, so the first question we asked them was, what is your spouse's favorite ice cream?
Anybody can go first.
Miss Deanna, peep.
I would go ahead and say mint chip.
Miss Deanna, is that correct?
Yeah, I always choose mint chip when I go to the ice cream shop.
All right.
See, a lot of times I'm the one that bites, so
Well, that may easy then. Miss Deanne?
I will put down vanilla for him.
true.
True?
Because
Vanilla
when she does go into the store to buy, that's why I ask them to get.
Okay. All right.
That's one of many actually.
Okay.
One of many.
Wow.
All right. The next question was, apart from each other, what's one thing that makes your partner truly happy?
That was a tough one. I would say date night.
A date night?
Yeah.
All right.
We still go on dates.
As you should. Miss Deanne?
Yeah, I would go with that apart, like from, just having family time and just being with the family, that makes me happy.
All right.
So, and that's what I put down for him too, so I don't
Oh,
Wow. All right.
You see, our kids have been trained. Well, I have to say trained from them very young that date night don't happen. So when we miss a month and not go on a date, the little one will remind us that, hey, never care about your wife this month. We're gonna
your wife?
Your wife?
No,
Yes,
no,
so-
mommy. Your
yes,
wife?
Yes.
yeah. So they have been used to that from they were little up to until now.
Okay.
All right. That's
That's
nice.
one of many.
And then the last question we asked was, what is your spouse's dream vacation spot?
I think Paris.
Well, I would have a lot on the list for true, but I think that I want to eat for true.
Okay.
And we talk about it, but that's one of many. And for him, I put Jamaica, Hawaii.
Okay.
Hawaii is the main one.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
They passed the test, Joe.
Yeah.
They passed it.
They
Yes,
did,
they
they
passed it. Ah. Okay, just to cut in here for a little bit, we just want to do a little advertisement here.
Right.
And yes, so Youth Come Alive, it's going to be on the screen. It's going to be a little challenge, right, guys? It's going to be my boo thing. We cut from the Valentine's thing. We say, be my boo thing. Now, how do you participate in this? Well, you got to shoot a video of you asking your partner to be your boo thing. It's going to be 1 minute long. You have to make sure there is the orientation, and then you have to make sure you use the phrase, be my boo thing. And then the winner will receive a dinner for two. You have to send in your videos before the 13th of February. And then on the show, we are going to choose who will be the winner. So guys, it's going to be posted on all our platforms. So you're going to be able to see it. So I encourage you, show your friends, tell your friends, so that they can participate in this little video, this little activity,
Challenge.
with this little challenge. We're going to show them, and the audience will also have a little say in who they think which video was the cutest and so forth. So that was just a little commercial break for what the activity we have coming up for this month.
Keeping it spicy here at Youth Come Alive. So if you really want that dinner for two, you gotta be creative. You gotta pull out the sweetest line, get a nice setting. I'm talking and I have no experience, but I might take notes from your videos.
Well, one of the things that they can do, maybe that's they were planning on getting married. That's the night they can get that date and pop the question the same time.
You see?
Okay.
Oh, you see, Brother Deon, they caught you with the ideas.
Solomon, no? Pull out some of them words.
Pull out some of them good words. So guys, share. We're going to post the flyer so you can share it, so you can tell your friends, so that anybody can participate. If you're from north, south, east, west, we don't worry who join. This is for everybody. So just send in your videos, and we guys are going to look through them. You're going to get to see them as well. So just send in your videos, and we're going to be excited to share them and to choose who the cutest video is from. All right, back to our topic now.
A match made in heaven.
A match made in heaven. When you guys think about that topic, I know if you may ask that question from the beginning, but because it just come back now, we have to ask it. We want to think when we hear a match made in heaven. Because they're not a match made in heaven seat right now.
I think personally for me is that, God have placed persons in your life for a reason, and He has basically put up. I personally believe that He has a partner for every person, and fortunately for us, I believe we found that person that He had for us. So that's what I look on match made in heaven, and the type of relationship that we have, I can say it's a match made in heaven.
All right.
God had that plan for us before we even knew it. So it's a match made in heaven indeed.
You know me can't wait to sit down in a two chair. They talk with my husband. They say, they say words. They so. By the way, I'm single. Just say it if anybody want to know.
Not the free ad. Not the free ad.
I mean, the thing is this: since you're waiting, you got to be preparing yourself to receive. Right? You cannot just be waiting there and not prepare yourself to receive, because you may get the person that you have wanted, and maybe that God placed might place that person right in front of you, but because you're not preparing yourself, that person end up walk right out.
That's a very true one. You have to be prepared, because I remember seeing a TikTok, I think, when we said, you know, God has all these things that he wants to do for us, but we're not preparing ourselves to receive them. We're not acting as if he's actually going to give it to us.
Because we have a lot of persons, and I do a little counseling here and there for couples, and I have found whereby, and I've read about this from other counselors as well, and found out that some persons are not with the person that they were set to be with. They married the wrong person. But they married persons based on feelings, based on looks, and based on what they could have gotten from the person.
Wow.
Not because of what real love really is. A matter of understanding, a matter of wisdom, a matter of having knowledge. No, they don't do that. They married outside of that. Outside of God ordained ways to love somebody. They married outside of that, and hence the reason why a lot of their marriage don't work. Some of them are just living together in a house to make persons believe as though their marriage is working. But that's not the case. And we have a lot, even, and sad to say, in our Christian realm, we have a lot of those.
So I have a question then, since you mentioned the married people. Do you think that, you know...
wait, hold up. Unmarried people.
The unmarried people, because...
We don't surpass that man like that.
No, because they end up married, you know, for whatever situation, and then it's not all the marital bliss that it's supposed to be, and instead of what God wanted for them, it's a bunch of separation, but still being married for the showcase. So do you think that even though someone may have ended up in a situation like that, that it has to end with a divorce, or you think that God has the power to bring some change in that situation?
It doesn't have to end in a divorce. I mean, if these persons sincerely believe and want for it to work, it can work. But they have to do it with God's help. It's all about a mindset, you know. I mean, you have to go with this heart and not this heart, because this heart only pump blood.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
That's all this do. Our machine, you know, we just pump blood and make sure the flow correct. But this is the heart that everybody have to make that change. Because you could be together the perfect person, and you believe that you're the perfect soulmate for each other. But what is your mindset? Because if you don't have the right mindset, that perfect match can become XX.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you are dating, it's important that you have God at the forefront at all times, from the very start, so that he can guide you into it. And when you guys make that decision to get married, you have to know what you're getting yourselves into. You're in it to win it. And it's not as soon as something goes haywire or whatever might happen that you are ready to throw in the towel. You have to be willing to stick it out through thin and through, well, people are saying, through hell and high water. All right? And when the marriage is going through difficult times, that's when, if you have to seek counseling, get professional help. Mm-hmm. All right? It's not on time when you go and check with persons who might give you bad advice or tell you right away to get divorced and that sort of thing. All right? But you do need to be helping out yourself, and if both of you have to want the marriage, all right? You have to fight for your marriage. From the beginning, you have to have that mindset that both of you will stick it out until the end, and the end should be till you close your eyes.
They have this pastor who always tell me, when you're single, you pray. When you're in date, pray even more. When you get engaged, you pray harder. And when you get married, fight by your knees. Because after that, it will start to be, they have darts who will start to fly. And if you're not strong enough to withstand, and you don't know how to get to your knees and pray, then that London Bridge was called tumbling down.
So Satan broke up the marriage.
Yeah.
What
It's
God-
union. It's the union that he doesn't like, that he wants to get rid of. There are some.
We have quite a few.
Right.
Adrian says, many get married and after about some years, one of the couples says, we weren't meant to be. We got married because of what we were feeling and then seek divorce. But God isn't a God of divorce. God only allows it. However, God never abandons a marriage. We need to seek God, for God is love.
Well, he made a very, there was one word in there that he mentioned. They got married because of what? Feelings.
Feelings.
So when the feelings change, that's it.
Because feelings do change.
Feelings change just as how everything, just as how the weather changes, night and day, feelings change. And if you're going on feelings alone, I can tell anybody, the relationship will never last. Feelings alone will not keep a love. The love part, the type of love that a lot of people talk about, which is feelings, that would never make a relationship last.
And it's sad how some people realize it from the beginning, but still they push through and get married, And then they expect that all will be fine.
Oh yeah, because once I got the last name, things supposed to start out.
Yeah.
Lies you
Or
tell.
when I have a baby, I change.
Nope.
Love is a feeling that you feel when you feel it, then you get married.
Not the baby.
One of the things,
That's the way they say.
one of the things persons need to do is that if you see a young man and you're interested in a young man, yes, you and him could talk and go casual date and all of that, but you need to find out how he treat ladies where he have in his life, maybe sister, ma, cousin, whatever. And they say and vice versa. How that young lady treat the brother, how he treat the pa. That will help you to know what type of person you're dealing with, If they got a tendency, I don't like they wrong my family, none at all, and that type of thing, that's a red flag you need to keep an eye on. It might be genuine, yes, but at the same time you need to look at that as a means of some type of communication that, hey, you guys need to work on that.
That's very true.
Hold on, somebody just now send me one quote. Relationships are like fart. If you have to push hard,
Seriously?
it's probably going to be
Number 2.
That's not true. That's not true. Pain can bring a beautiful thing.
True.
Pain can bring a beautiful thing, and we saw that. I mean, we saw that in the starting from creation, from the Garden of Eden. Pain can bring a beautiful thing. All of us are here right now.
Childbirth.
Yep.
We came from out of pain.
Either a C-section, which hurt more here, or natural birth. I will have a comment here. I just want to get down to before we forget, because it's one time to finish. Pastor Jeremy says, God can change any heart. They will need to put in the work along with God. And while you're not married, allow God to work in you to be the best version of you.
Some persons don't find themselves until they're married.
Right.
Because the person that they're married to, by the grace of God, end up helping them to help them find themselves.
Right.
Right. Adrian, go ahead.
I remember listening to this podcast with this couple. They're not Christian, but I remember listening to them. And he is this actor, and he said one day he landed a role. And he was so excited, but he couldn't come home and rejoice with his wife because his wife's face was always in gear, and because she was still searching for how she was going to maneuver herself with her jobs and different things like that, because she does modeling and things and stuff. And so he said that that wasn't sitting well with him. So what he did was he went and he canceled the role that he just landed, and he took 6 months off from work and worked with his wife to get her back to where she needed to be, so that when he goes and land his jobs or these roles that these lead roles that he's applying for, that when he come home to share it with his wife, she can also rejoice. Because if she's losing her purpose and I'm here soaring, then where do we will crash. And I thought that was the most beautiful thing that I've ever heard from somebody that is not even Christian said, that they took the time out to help to build back their wife to a point where she can soar afterwards.
And that's why when the Bible speaks of the two become one, that's an example of the two becoming one. That he needs, you raise my hand when my hand is down, and when it turns the other way, I raise your hand.
Adrian says, again, if God can turn water into wine and make water split into two and fire come down from heaven, if God can do the impossible, what you think about marriages that are going through rough times?
All right.
And then let's say, I think we need to get to know people, really know them before we get married. Because a lot of us get married with complete strangers. After you're married, the person you realize that they are completely different from the person you dated.
That wouldn't say you see me and live with me that two
different
things.
In some cases, you will not really know that person fully.
Yes.
In order for you to really know somebody fully, you have to spend a lot of time,
right?
A lot of time with them, and maybe a few years. And based on how the society and how the whole thing have designed presently, you don't have access to that individual to spend a whole lot of time with, especially if you're career-oriented persons. You might only have maybe say 3 hours a day out of the whole 24 hours. So you have to make much of that time. But at the same time, like what Pastor Jeremy mentioned, is that your personal relationship with God will continue to help propel you forward, so that will help you to get to know that person. Because when you're with that person, you will be asking and talking and asking them the right questions, and when they answer you, they will answer you in the right way. They don't get a false answer. Right?
You said something very important there, asking the right questions. You know, we have these couples that are going through relationships and they get to a point and then they have a fight. But why did the fight happen? Because of a certain question that came up or a situation that came up, then they start fighting over it. But why are you just fighting about this, or why are you just talking about this? That should have been a question you asked from the very start. I believe we dance around questions, around hard questions, because we get to like this person, so we want to be able to push the relationship longer. But I believe that the hard question in the beginning, either you know it, either it happened or it not happen at that point over there. So rather you cut it there before the feelings start to jump in.
So now they ask questions like, what's your favorite color, your favorite type of food? No. That high school.
What's your core value?
I will share this with you all. I remember while we were dating and we were ready to decide to get married, I recall asking her this question. I said, man, is there anything of your past that will come and harm us in the future?
I can't write that down.
I need to write that too.
Yes. Write it down.
If that's the case, if you believe that deep down in your heart you have something, let's deal with it now. Right? Because when we go front of the altar and make that decision, I no got no intention to call it off.
Right.
So beforehand, let's deal with that. Whatever from your past that may affect us in the future, let's deal with it now.
Right.
And thank God there was none.
Thank God.
And vice versa. I asked her to ask me the same question, and there was none. Thank God.
Okay. Well, we are down to our very last moments of our show for tonight. So I just would like for you both to encourage our young people that are getting to, like, they're dating to be married or they're about to get married. What would you say to them?
I would advise that first they need to take time to get to know each other before they make that big step. Have God at the forefront in everything that you do. You continue to read books and educate yourselves as to what is expected of you. What else?
Well, for me, I will like to tell young people, get to know you.
Hey.
Well,
Look in the mirror, talk to who you see, and ask yourself, would you date you?
Well,
Based on not just looks, but based on your character. And based on not just on your character, but what is it can you give to somebody else?
true.
Because you're going to be giving yourself to somebody. You're asking somebody to take this journey with me. But where are you taking them? A journey to where? To what? To achieve what? To do what? You know.
And when you have sealed that deal, then it doesn't stop there. You have to continue date, continue find things to do together to keep that marriage and that union strong.
You know, when you said that just now, the first thing that came to my mind is being self-aware. And how people like to ask this question, like, what are you bringing to the table? To me, I believe, yes, money and these material things kind of play a little role in there at times, but is your character, is your personality that you're bringing to the table going to drive me to the edge of the roof? Or is it going to give me contentment in this house? Because I think contentment and peace of mind is better than having money in your pocket. Because imagine you not having money and not having peace and contentment, how it clashes. So I believe when you're saying bringing to the table, make sure that characteristics and that character and personality is worth bringing to the table as well.
I think what I would say is, like we discussed sometime in the last year when we talked about the perfect list, make sure you're making a list for yourself in what you want from a person and what you are going to give to that person. Because if you're only seeking to gain from a relationship, that's not a relationship. It makes me remember another conversation, but we'll get into that another time. You have to make sure that it's a win-win situation. You're bringing an equal amount of what you're receiving as well, because that's when a strain is there, and that's when the other person says, you know what, if I'm me to carry this relationship, I'll be in a relationship by myself. Go your own way, you know? So make sure you're offering just as much value as you are looking for.
Yep.
Just because I know I never met. I really just made a listen and think. But I really love that the Robinsons, they chose Jacob and Rachel. Just like they said, it's determination. There's a lot of things you can learn from them. But as well, I think we just need to not worry about when the person will come, where the person will come from, and who it will be. We need to be like Jacob and, you know, just work for that person in the same way like Ruth and Rachel did. They weren't worrying about their future husbands. They just relied on the Lord to send that person, and eventually it came. And I'm thankful that you guys decided to choose Jacob and Rachel as your couples, for that you believe your marriage is related to.
With that, guys,
Thank you for having us.
yes, thank you guys for joining us at Youth Come Alive. We really appreciate it. We just want to say thank you guys for watching. You guys have been active tonight, and I love that. And I noticed that our your viewers, they were popping in tonight, and we like that. We like that you guys are listening and being very good students and sharing the link. There's much more of this. There are much more couples that we're going to have. So do not miss out next week's topic, next week's show. So with that, we just want to say thank you and good night, and go enjoy your evening.
As a non-profit organization, the Adventist Television Network solely relies on your financial support. By partnering with us through a monthly donation, you will help us to continue to fulfill the mission in taking the gospel into all the world. For more information, please call 613-9351 or email us at atnfin@cbm.belizeunion.org. Thank you for your prayers and support of the ATN ministry, and together we may hasten the soon coming of our Lord Jesus Christ.